Join us for live coverage of the Abaco Youth Football Association Championship from Murphytown, Abaco, only on Cable 12.
The National Security Minister calling for judges to get tougher with ankle bracelet restrictions. A shooting at a local nightclub leaves 3 in hospital. The Customs Department in full preparation for value-added tax. 2 mothers plea for the return of their missing teen daughters. And a primeval forest is now open to the public. We've got those stories and more coming up tonight. I'm Dana Smith, and NV12 starts now. Topping news tonight, the government is renewing the call for changes to the way bail is granted, particularly in the cases of suspects accused of serious offenses. National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage noting that some accused offenders who are being electronically monitored find ways to commit other serious offenses while on bail, something he says the judiciary may need to take a closer look at. Christina McNeil reports.
It is known that decisions on bail are left to the discretion of judges, but National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage says if he had it his way, those charged with serious offenses would not be granted bail. It's a discussion he says may be necessary to help reduce crime in the country.
If I had it my way, these persons, particularly those who are applying for bail with very serious violent crimes, would be denied bail until such time as they can be tried, provided that the trials can be held within a defined period, say 2 years. Because I think that the rate of homicides, for example, would decline very quickly if we were able to get the courts to agree to that.
Earlier this week, Commissioner of Police Alison Greenslade told NB12 that many of the accused criminals who are being electronically monitored have proven they are too dangerous to be put back in the community. Officials indicate that the majority of the 460 people on the electronic monitoring program are on bail for murder, rape, and armed robbery. Today, Nottage agreed, adding that there should be more restrictions placed on offenders. He says those restrictions may include curfews and the identification of areas offenders can and cannot enter.
The problem that we do have is that people who are being electronically monitored continue to offend, and some of these offenses are quite serious. And while they are on bail is when this obviously happens. We would like a system whereby either they are denied bail, which we understand is not going to happen, or where there are restrictions placed on them. If they do not comply with the restrictions, then they can be taken back into custody, because it appears that many, if not most, of the serious crimes that are being committed and that people are concerned about are being committed by persons who are being electronically monitored.
Despite revealing his personal opinions today, Nottage noted that he and others in government cannot instruct the courts. However, he says he still believes that if matters can move more swiftly through the justice system, the number of people out on bail can be drastically reduced.
What I hope happens is that the 4 new courts which are being prepared and which should be available in the not too distant future, but what these will do is make it possible to have trials more quickly so that the justices are satisfied that people will not be held overly long because they're concerned about the rights of the individuals. Not everybody who is charged with a crime is found to be guilty of the crime. And so I think that they have a reasonable concern, as do we.
Government's contract with electronic monitoring firm ICS expired in November. However, it has been extended on a month-by-month basis until government's bidding process gets underway. Reporting from the South Street Court Complex for NB12, I'm Christina McNeil.
In crime news, a man who reportedly opened fire at a local nightclub is in hospital under heavy police guard after he was shot multiple times by police. 2 other men are also in hospital reportedly after being shot by the suspect. According to police reports, shortly after 2 a.m. today, police received a report of a suspicious man on the premises of Club Waterloo, located near Montague Beach on East Bay Street. Upon arrival, police observed a man firing shots with a handgun at 2 men outside the club. The officers reportedly then engaged the armed suspect, shooting him multiple times. The other 2 men who were reportedly shot by the suspect were also transported to hospital. One of the victims is listed in stable condition, while the other is listed in critical condition. The alleged gunman is also listed in critical condition. Police report they recovered a handgun and a large quantity of ammunition from the suspect. As the Customs Department celebrates 100 years, the department is undergoing a major modernization exercise. This as the more than 700 customs officers are preparing to play a vital role in collections under the new tax regime. Customs Controller Charles Turner today revealed what is being done to prepare. Our Jasmine Bonamy has the details in this report.
The customs chief insisting his department is doing all it can to ensure that it's ready by the time VAT is implemented.
Turner made the comments following a special flag-raising ceremony to celebrate the centennial anniversary of the Bahamas Customs Department at Customs House on Thompson Boulevard. During that ceremony, Minister of State for Finance Michael Halkitis insisted the department that collects more than 50% of government revenue each year will be vital in the success of VAT. It's a role that Turner says the department takes seriously.
Customs will be collecting VAT at the borders in addition to customs duties. We, the customs officers, will have to train our officers.
Turner says the department has already begun training its officers.
We have specialized training in areas such as valuation, tariff matters. This added training will go a long way.
As various government departments prepare for the implementation of VAT, uncertainty remains over the introductory rate. Earlier this month, Prime Minister Perry Christie said it is unclear what the new VAT rate will be. Christie announced in the House of Assembly that the government will not introduce VAT at 15% and is instead eyeing a lower rate. Christie also suggested that VAT would not be implemented on July 1st as originally slated. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Bonamy.
2 mothers are pleading for their teen daughters to return home after they've been missing for nearly 2 weeks. The women believe the girls are together and may have run away, and now they only want their safe return.
These children don't know, and that's also dangerous. You know, people dying every day. You don't know how people dying. You finding bodies. I can't sleep. Underneath my eye big. Eyes swell up just crying. You this place, you that place looking, you know. I don't know.
Mia Bullard, mother to 16-year-old Wilnika Bullard, says her daughter has been missing since Monday, March 10th. Christine Joseph, mother to 16-year-old Crystal Clark, has a similar story. The women, who have become friends through this ordeal, said they both came home on March 10th to find several items belonging to the girls, including clothes, missing. They believe their daughters may have packed small bags and then left. Calls to their daughters' cell phones have gone unanswered, and on Facebook, the girls are just as silent. The mothers say, though, the teenagers have responded to messages from friends. The women have reported the matter to police and say their feelings of anger have now turned into fear.
They have already been gone for a week. I think they need to return home now. And if anybody know where they are or where they is, you could just ask them to come home.
Bullard says her overwhelming concern over her missing child has interfered with her everyday life, including one instance where she broke down in tears at work.
I try to be strong. I've been praying. And I was to work last night and I just burst out crying and they was like, what happened? And I just say nothing. I went in the bathroom, clean up myself, catch myself for an hour, and I went back to work.
Both women say they just want their children home and are appealing to anyone who sees the girls to contact them. Joseph can be reached at 425-2639 and Bullard can be reached at 443-3598.
Crystal, you've been gone long enough. I think it's time for you to return home. Nika, this your mommy. If you know what's good for you, come home. Call me. Come home, please.
In other news, Prime Minister Perry Christie said yesterday the government plans to allow citizens greater access to government information by giving renewed consideration to the draft Freedom of Information Act. Christie was speaking at an anti-corruption conference in the Cayman Islands. He said before year-end, the Bahamas will likely introduce specific legislation dealing with anti-corruption in the form of a new Prevention of Corruptions Act or Integrity in Public Life Act. He said this legislation would create an integrity commission that would, among other things, oversee the process of public financial declarations. Christie also said the government is working on a national anti-corruption plan, which would introduce new specific anti-corruption legislation and renew focus on quality leadership in the fight against corruption. The Freedom of Information Act, which Christie said yesterday will provide citizens with the tools to keep public administration transparent and accountable, was introduced in Parliament back in October 2011. A revamped version was passed in the Senate in February 2012. An enforcement date was never set.